Good morning. It is 10:02. Good morning. Welcome to the July 21st, 2022 meeting of the Equity Commission for Cuyahoga County. I would like to welcome you again to this meeting. We have several presentations on Arpa funding and how we're advancing equity, in addition to our standard agenda. I'll proceed with the roll call, but first, just as a reminder, we have a lot of new faces, but to the Equity Commission meeting, not to the county. Please remind to, when you're speaking for the public record, to activate the microphone with the button there. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do the roll call for Department of Development. Vaughn Johnson.
Here.
For the Department of Health and Human Services, Sabrina Roberts.
Here.
And for the Department of Human Resources, Kimberly Coleman.
Here.
And Lenora Lockett is Department of Equity and Inclusion. We have a quorum. Now we'll proceed with the review and approval of the minutes from the Maid meeting. Hopefully, if you were able to confer with your directors to determine, is there any comments or additions to the minutes? Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the minutes. Sabrina Roberts.
I'll second it. Kim Coleman.
All in favor? Say aye.
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 Passed by unanimous vote. We do not have anyone signed in for public comment, and we did not have any public comment on the email for the Equity Commission. So now we'll have opening remarks from the Equity Commission members. I'll reserve my remarks for the updates on the last two agenda items, and we can go right to left.
Good morning. My name is Kimberly Coleman. I'm HR Manager with the Department of Human Resources, and I chair our HR DEI Steering Committee as well. I'll be filling in for our Interim Director, Ms. Sheba Marshall. So our DEI Steering Committee, we're continuing our work to champion diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives throughout the county. We continue a monthly newsletter, and we send out communications to our stakeholders supporting the county DEI training initiatives. One of the initiatives that we have started that has come to fruition, we've officially introduced our tuition assistance program to the employees. Beginning in the fall semester of 2022, full-time benefits eligible county employees who have completed 1 year of continuous service can participate in the program. The program is designed to help the county employees reach their goals, enhance their job-related skills, and develop their careers. Employees will be able to take classes that are related to their current positions or probable future positions and be reimbursed up to $3,600 per calendar year. Currently, the eligible employees will be able to attend both undergraduate and graduate classes at Baldwin-Wallace University, Cleveland State University, and Cuyahoga County Community College. Employees will be able to learn more about the program. We've created a tuition assistance website that can be accessed through the county intranet. And there's some lunch and learn remote sessions that have been organized right now through Tri-C. But we are looking at organizing some more for the other schools as well. And there is an employee back-to-school open house that's scheduled July 27th from 9 to 4 at the West Shore Professional Center. HR is working with the Department of Communications to ensure that employees are provided with the most up-to-date information on all these programs, on the open houses and the lunch and learns. And there are a lot of frequently asked questions and information that can be found at the website. Thank you.
Good morning. Sabrina Roberts, representing the Department of Health and Human Services. I am the Interim Assistant Director, filling in for David Merriman this morning. Our department is quite busy. As you know, we have 8 departments under the umbrella and give or take estimate of almost 2,000 employees. So we've been spending time, the last part of the GEAR survey is due Friday, so a big push for our team members to complete that, and want to thank the directors and all of the champions that we've identified within each of the departments to push that along. Along with that, making sure many of the folks taking the leadership training, the first cohort of the training, is signed up and matched up there. And then with many of the trainings from the Department of Equity and Inclusion, making sure the directors and key staff who have been invited to a bevy of trainings are attending those. I'm excited to say we will be working with Public Safety and Justice Services to have a synergy, a learning collaborative, if you will, between their steering committee on this work and ours. I'm initially going in August to speak to them, small but mighty team, and then we want to work on a synergy going forward, although not alike in services, have a learning collaborative that we can learn from each other. And I always want to say thank you to the steering committee members throughout HHS. They're at all levels, from frontline, middle management, so we have different perspectives that we can hear from, and we often work on those normalizing conversations because we host crucial conversations throughout the agency, and training was a big bucket for us. So with county overall doing training, that is kind of a hitting our milestone there, but we have with our training department that works with HR as well, constantly doing trainings around different topics under DEI work. So thank you to those 8 members of our steering committee internally at HHS. That completes my report.
Good morning, everyone. Vaughn Johnson, Deputy Director for Economic Development with Cuyahoga County. I have a few things to go over here this morning. First of all, the department is continuing our internal equity work. We started that with Kathy Jackson. We had the department break up into a few different groups so they could have some private conversations about DE&I, picking up on some of the conversations that they had in previous years. Of course, Paul Herdag, Sarah Parks Jackson, and myself are in strong support of the internal equity work that we're doing. The next 2 are a couple of programs that are really important, and really, I'm really excited about these 2. And they both involve using ARPA funds. So the first one is our brownfield cleanup program, in which $5 million of ARPA funds has been appropriated as a match program for the state of Ohio's brownfield cleanup program. And this addresses equity in a couple of ways. One is many of the proposed cleanup projects are in low to moderate income areas that can be reactivated when these developers clean up these brownfields and remediate these buildings and different things like that. The other part is where I was very intentional with this competitive grant program is that in the scoring criteria, I specifically put in bonus points for the contractors and developers if they're using MBE contractors along with their own in their program, in their project. And the reason I did that, excuse me, is because in my previous work, I worked with developers that would always talk about that they would like to work with MBEs, but they couldn't find any, especially in a industry such as brownfield remediation and cleanup. That is a specialized industry. So the MBEs would tell me, well, Vaughn, they're telling me we can't get on this project because we don't have any experience. And the general contractors would say, well, I can't put them on the project because they don't have any experience. So I wanted to try to create this criteria so that if you want bonus points, you're going to have an MBE as part of your cleanup project to give them experience so that the next time around, they will be able to bid on some of these projects themselves. The next one is our Small Business Grants Program, which is $2 million in ARPA funds. That is a direct to small business grant program with an eye on minority businesses. The county executive was very clear about that he wanted this to have an eye on minority businesses, and we have done that. There is a 12-person committee that was put together to draft and create this competitive grants program, and they come from a variety of organizations across Cuyahoga County, such as the Chinese Chamber of Commerce, the President's Council, the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, ECDI, Cleveland Neighborhood Progress, Jumpstart, and on and on. And these experts worked with me to develop this program, and they wanted this program to be impactful, significant, and transformative. So instead of this being a rescue grant to help businesses that have struggled or just having difficulty either meeting payroll or keeping their utilities on, this grant is for businesses that have survived through the pandemic, that are thriving on the other end, and now they're looking to scale and grow. So that's why the grants are up to $50,000, so that these businesses could either bring on more employees, buy new equipment, expand their operations, open up a new location. And this actually piggybacks on the $3 million that we already have given to organizations that support small and minority businesses. So I'm very proud to say that just this year alone, we have $5 million in either direct or indirect resources to small and minority businesses in Cuyahoga County. So that's my report for that.
Awesome. It's great to hear all the different projects that are, and initiatives that are proceeding. Did anyone have any questions on either anyone's presentation or further questions? Okay. Thank you very much. As I stated, I'll reserve my comments to give updates on items 6 and 7, and we'll proceed to the ARPA funds and equity, part 2. In May, we had the first presentation by Department of Development on how they're using ARPA funds to advance equity and inclusion. We're continuing that today with 3 presentations, and we're going to go in reverse alphabetical order. So you'll be innovation and performance will be last. But we'll start with sustainability. We have the director, Mike Foley, and he's going to present how they're using innovation, ARPA funds to advance equity and inclusion. And then we'll have public works. And then we'll save the best for last. Right.
Oh, thank you, Catherine. I have to repeat everything. So you can okay, thank you. So we've got $600,000 that went to hire engineering consultants for that project, and hopefully by the end of the year, we will have identified both a utility operator or manager, a set of first projects, and we will pre-qualify a number of developers who will be eligible to work on utility projects for the county. And then fourth is the Riddle Urban Nursery. And so Riddle is a urban farm located on roughly East 82nd, Kinsman area. It used to be called the old, what was it? The Forgotten Triangle area of Cleveland, if you remember that. So they've done a wonderful job just kind of reclaiming that area over there, and have been doing composting. They've got aquaculture going on, so they've got a fish farm basically. They do urban gardening there, and we are giving them $350,000 over a 5-year period to start an urban tree nursery. So one of the things we know in the county is that our tree canopy is lower than it should be. We've got $1 million a year we're giving out for grants for nonprofits and cities to help grow the urban canopy again. And one of the things we always thought is it would be great if we could grow those and source those trees locally. So Riddle has kind of taken that up and is started. In fact, we were out there a couple days ago, and they've got probably about 200 or 300 seeds and started to grow plants. And the idea is that on a year-to-year basis, by year 5, they will be growing at least 4,000 plants a year, trees a year, and selling those. And they'll be selling them to the communities who we give grants out to, but also to the general public. They've got kind of businesses and development partners who they work with. So, and I should say lastly, and this is just kind of recent, is so with and development is helping on this also. So there's money going. It's $1.45 million going to the Cleveland Water Alliance around marketing and test beds for projects on Lake Erie, and we're going to be adding $200,000 into that just for help with urban grocery stores. Councilwoman Simon really has this concern around plastic bag usage and plastic pollution into Lake Erie. So we've got an extra $200,000 that we're going to be putting over into consumer affairs to kind of run a grant program for grocery stores, especially in urban neighborhoods who are trying to transition. We're trying to help transition over to reusable bags rather than single-use plastic bags. And I just threw it. So when we were out at Riddle the other day, they've got a cool new building they put up, and they actually have lunch now 2 days a week. So on Tuesdays and Fridays, and so I told them I would spread the word. So, and it's got the menu in the back. So Taco Tuesdays and Fish Fry Fridays. So. And take any questions.
Only question I would have is that in general, is the sustainability website the focus for as things progress for people to feed that media or information for people who are asking, okay, when can what's the status, what's the process?
Yeah, I would say I haven't done a great job of that. So, I was thinking about this. So, Health and Human Services has 2,000 people. We've got 3, right?
Yes.
We have 0.0015. I actually did the math. Number of employees.
But 2,000 people who are underwater dealing with the most critical issues of our county. So I have to give a shout out again to our staff.
Nope, of course, you have a wonderful staff, I know. But I haven't done a good job of kind of looking at our webpage and refreshing it and making sure that we're keeping up with stuff. So that's something I need to do.
Well, that's always the battle myself also, doing the work and getting the word out about the work so people can get the information. So, but yes, it's a lot of awesome projects with their urban tree canopy, and also thank you with Planning Commission using
Oh,
the
yeah.
equity zone. Again, embedding the equity zone policy as part of that selection process.
Right, yeah. Yeah, we embed the maps and as a scoring criteria for when we give out grants, right?
Director Foley, Sabrina Roberts from Health and Human Services. This flyer, I'm sure our comms department and HHS can help get this out.
Very good. Yeah, very good.
Thanks.
I'll throw it over there too. Okay, all right, thanks. And I got to run to another meeting, so.
Thank you very much. Next up is Department of Public Works. And we have, is it up? Yeah, Melanie C.
It's actually me and Tom. We're gonna kind of tag team the presentation. Good morning, my name is Melanie Say, and this is,
Tom Sotek. Good morning, everybody. Pleasure to be here this morning.
thank you for allowing Public Works to share with you how Public Works CARES and general fund projects are fostering the diversity and equity initiatives of Cuyahoga County. One of the largest projects that Public Works has done with the CARES and general funded projects was the Building Modification Program. This was a $17 million program with 14 contractors that spanned a 2-year period. Nearly 30 buildings were modified. 50% of the program's funding was awarded to MBE prime contractors such as North Star, Next Generation, Constructability, aka TMG, and RL Hill. Most importantly, this program opened up a new network of potential contractors that had not previously worked or bidded on Cuyahoga County projects. We are seeing recent RFQs and RFPs that have garnered more interest from contractors. These contractors were primes and subs on the COVID Building Modification Program. This project has allowed us to reach vendors and contractors that we had not reached before. Obviously, this diversity of these construction companies is correlated back to how we diversified with this building modification program. One of our current projects, which I'm very excited about, is the Men's Shelter Expansion Project. The existing men's shelter located at 2100 Lakeside Avenue consists of accommodations for up to 350 individuals. During the height of the COVID-19 health emergency, the need for additional accommodations was met by leasing hotel space in and around Cuyahoga County. So in response, the Cuyahoga County purchased a former manufacturing building at 2020 Lakeside Avenue. This facility consists of a total 10,000 square foot presence with a 2,000 square foot second story. The men's shelter expansion at 2020 Lakeside will greatly increase the ability of the county to provide on and off-site services to increase resident self-sufficiency for homeless men, many of which are veterans and men in crisis. The new shelter annex will provide an additional 124 beds to augment and expand the services provided by Lutheran Metropolitan Ministries. The existing manufacturing building will be repurposed to a transient residential housing facility with an enclosed, accessible, environmentally conditioned connector to the existing men's shelter. The estimated construction is about $4 million. The services provided by the men's shelter through LMM includes counseling, education, medical referrals, and job training. The staff of the men's shelter work with individuals to end their homelessness by finding appropriate housing as possible. The Work Experience Program helps residents obtain job training and achieve self-reliance and autonomy in order to get back on their feet, benefiting the individual, their family, and the community. The expected completion is the end of February 2023.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tom Sotek, and I'm here to talk to you about some, we believe, exciting and transformative projects that our staff in Public Works has been working on. regarding access to the lakefront, new opportunities for people in underserved areas, so on and so forth. So hopefully I'm not talking too loud with the microphone on right now, but anyway, we'll start with Irishtown Bend project. Obviously, if anybody's familiar with Irishtown Bend, it's the area along Cuyahoga River on the west side of the Cuyahoga River. It's been just, for years it's overgrown, and there's really nothing much going on there. It's actually a beautiful location with a beautiful view of downtown Cleveland. So this particular project that I'm talking about includes the stabilization of the shore bank to keep the shipping channel open. That was one of the concerns because the slope is very unstable through there, so part of that work is going to be to stabilize the slope. Result will simultaneously implement a 23-acre park for the community. Rebuilds Cleveland as a more equitable place where industry, nature, and diverse neighborhoods can thrive. Involves 18 to 24 months of removing unstable soil and building a retaining wall, then construction of a park, once again on the reconfigured slope. County would be contributing $2.5 million of the $46 million price tag, and of the $2.5 million is coming from our Arpa funds. Since there are federal funds in that project, the DBE, the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, would be set by ODOT due to the federal funding on this type of project. But anyway, just to give you a quick overview, the stabilized unstable hillside will then, the park would positively affect the community. We're going to be removing 250,000 cubic yards of soil, which is a lot of soil. Reconfigure the slope and add retaining wall for stabilization. The plans include a 2-acre event lawn, a sledding hill, playground, a wetland healing garden, archaeology site, and a maritime theater. So really, as you can see by the photos, there's pretty much something for everything. And I think truly, it's going to be beautiful when it's all said and done. A little bit of the history there. Planners have been talking about connecting a park on the hillside to the trails since the early 1990s. This park's impact on addressing equity, it's going to create access to a regional trails and landscape, evoke Cleveland's Native American heritage. Park would incorporate Ohio City Farm, Refugee Response, a nonprofit organization, enables resettled global refugees to grow organic produce. Has the potential to spur $1 billion in cultural and economic development along the lakefront. And again, it'll be able to tell the stories of many stories of social injustice in the Irishtown Bend that have happened over the years, and this park will give an opportunity to tell those stories to everybody. The timeline for this project will be approximately within 18 to 24 months. The removal of soil in the building of the retaining wall will begin, and the 23-acre park will be recreated on that reconfigured slope soon after that work is completed. Another project that I would like to tell you about is the Central Neighborhood Surge improvements that folks in our office have been working on. And again, another exciting project that we're happy to be involved with. This is kind of a first time for Public Works, this type of project and initiative. As part of the Cuyahoga County's Neighborhood Surge Program, Cuyahoga County Department of Public Works is partnering with the City of Cleveland and the Cuyahoga County Metropolitan Housing Authority to support capital improvements in Cleveland's central neighborhood. Cuyahoga County Department of Public Works met with CMHA and City of Cleveland engineering staff in October of 2020 to discuss the proposed work around the Central Neighborhood Recreation Center. This project includes the construction of an existing park expansion, which, if you see in the picture there, is in the upper left-hand corner. And that rehabilitation, that park rehabilitation, is going to include new play areas, walking paths, a splash pad, a basketball court, and a new open lawn gathering area there. As you can see, it's quite a large open space there for everybody to use. Again, it's going to enhance the quality of life there. The project's also going to include the installation or the construction of a new street, East 26th Street there, and that's in the orangish yellow color. over there. So that's going to include a new street to kind of mimic East 28th, which was recently completed. The construction of the existing park expansion will be using $1 million in county ARPA funds. The new road adjacent to the rec center in the park will cost $2 million, $1.2 million of which will be funded using county ARPA dollars. And again, this is a project that's going to advance and address equity through focusing resources in neighborhoods that have been historically underserved. And since this will be a county-run project, the SBE MBWB goals will be set and monitored for the construction of this project.
That's me. Another one of our ongoing funded programs is the Jail Wireless and Security Network Improvement Program. This program will remove the required jail video management system off of the data network, which is nearly fully utilized. This will allow significant data capacity for wireless services improvement through the jail. Investment in the wireless infrastructure commenced during COVID-19 in order to limit the number of inmates needing physical transfers to the courts for scheduled hearings. This program will expand on that investment to enhance inmate programming with jail operations within the facilities, as well as provide more capacity for video network expansion for security and safety improvements. Through improved video monitoring in the jail. With this improvement, we will also see improvement with conducting remote visitation and remote court hearings. This project will improve the quality of services delivered to inmates who in general are from underserved populations within Cuyahoga County. The last phase of this project is slated for completion in fall of 2022.
Okay, once again, Tom Sotak to talk about another project that we're working on, which actually consists of 4 separate projects. Again, I can't emphasize how we believe this is going to be transformative for the Cleveland, for the city of Cleveland, and in fact, the whole Cleveland metropolitan area. The Cuyahoga County Lakefront Public Access Plan is a plan that focuses on, I think there we go. Plan focuses on improved public access to Lake Erie. It also focuses on erosion control and ecological enhancement of the shoreline of Lake Erie, which has been subject to, as we all know, advanced stages of erosion, and especially with the high lake levels that we've been experiencing recently. And then enhanced transportation networks and opportunities along the shoreline as well. Plan builds on a successful public-private partnership model that was built in the city of Euclid. And this plan advances and addresses equity by providing increased access to the lakeshore. As a fact, 30 miles of coastline in Cuyahoga County, only 22% is publicly accessible. And when you get out of the city of Cleveland, it goes down to 13% is publicly accessible. So these projects are going to add another 5 miles of accessibility for everybody to the lakefronts. And actually, as you can see on the last bullet point there, the county will be contributing $8 million in ARPA funds to these particular projects. Cuyahoga County's Lakefront Public Access Plan is a direct reaction to the historic development pattern and resulting inequities that have developed over time. At its core, the Lakefront Public Access Plan seeks to expand mobility options in public lakefront access for all residents regardless of income, race, and/or abilities. Criteria established during the plan development process sought to prioritize investment in public lakefront public access and shoreline enhancement in historically underserved and underinvested populations. 4 initial catalytic projects, which we'll go through, or focus areas identified within the Lakefront Public Access Plan, are being advanced with construction of these initial projects anticipated to occur within the next 1 to 4 years. 2 of the catalytic projects are segments of the overall 30-mile network that are within existing public right-of-ways. The other 2 are lakefront projects being developed through public-private partnerships. The 2 lakefront projects will provide a 1.15 miles of new public lakefront access, while the 2 inland projects on existing public right-of-way will provide another 3.9 miles of multimodal facilities. The first of these projects is the Beulah Park Euclid Beach Connector. This project consists of 2/3 of a mile of enhancement and protection of a rapidly eroding lakefront in those areas that are mostly occupied with private property. The NEORSD, Metro Parks, and a private landowner partnership are all involved. So we have these, this is a chance for a great partnership. We have all these entities have come together here to identify and add on to some existing assets that they have in this area. The 2,500-foot linear trail will provide lakefront access for underserved communities and create public access along the lakefront for the Beulah Park and North Collinwood neighborhoods, as well as for regional trail users to the Cleveland Metro Parks, Euclid Beach Park, Villa Angela Park, and Wildwood Park. It involves extensive partnerships, again, as I mentioned, and will connect existing well-used and accessible regional trail connections, including the Cleveland Lakefront Bikeway, Ohio to Erie Trail, and other regional and national trails connected to them. Construction is expected to start in the second quarter of 2023, and that would take us a 3-year time span to 2026. And the budget for that is $11 million. Next project I would like to talk about is the Cleveland Lakefront Connector. This project entails 2.7 miles of a new ADA bike and pedestrian access, will create a safe and comfortable environment encouraging use along this lakefront segment. It will also serve to connect downtown to University Circle via Gordon Park, Glenville, and East 72nd Street. And once again, the design and construction will include SBE, WB, and MBE goals. Currently, there is no sidewalk or recreational trail along the North Marginal Road. The proposed multi-purpose trail from East 9th to East 55th Street will effectively connect downtown Cleveland to the Harrison Dillard Trail and historic Rockefeller Park Cultural Gardens along Martin Luther King Drive. Connecting to the trail not only allows public recreational benefits, but also an alternative transportation mode because the Harrison Dillard Trail provides direct access to the University Circle neighborhood. Pedestrians are currently forced to run and bike out on the road unprotected. The schedule for this design and engineering will take place from the first quarter of 2022, which is now obviously, to the second or fourth quarter of 2023. And construction is scheduled to begin in the second quarter of 2024, and that would last approximately a year and a half, and the budget for that would be $8 million. So the thing about this project is, and again, I think if you look at it, and I just my own commentary here, Cuyahoga County, I think, is historically not utilized its geography to our advantage. One thing we have is a lake that other cities and communities would be envious of us for that. So we're kind of finally taking advantage of this. When we're starting there, you got to start somewhere, and these projects kind of start with, relative some low-hanging fruit that we can take care of, especially the gap between East 55th and East 9th. There's really no way to have access there right now. So that really opens up a lot of the lakefront. It gives people opportunities. It gives transportation, but also, there's potential for commerce and enjoy the park, so on and so forth. So we think, again, a transformative project. Next project I want to talk about is the Gold Coast Lakefront project. This involves the enhancement of 13 lakefront properties. They're high-density properties in Cuyahoga County and in the city of Lakewood. Is intent on creating a plan for mitigating erosion along 3/4 of a mile of lakefront. Once again, this project will include SBE, WE, MBE goals, since it will be managed by the county. Our goals with this are to create, fill in another blank of a missing piece. The thing about the important thing about this is, again, this is subject to high erosion here. This is a very, this has experienced a lot of erosion in the, obviously historically, but this is also an area that by constructing this will enable us to have a big chunk of access completed between Edgewater Park and Lakewood Park. So, you know, another piece of the puzzle completed for, you know, access all the way from downtown all the way out to Lakefront Park, which, you know, people just have really no way of going. And for a lot of people, you can't even get to the lake to enjoy the lakefront. And again, as I said, it's going to definitely take care of erosion. We're going to respect private property rights and build partnerships where there's an interest, simplify regulatory reviews in the approval process by doing so. This project is slated for engineering. It's in the engineering stages right now, and that engineering will go through the fourth quarter of 2024. The actual start of construction for this project is yet to be determined. The budget for this is $30 to $40 million. We're in the process of seeking several grants, both national and local grants, for this to cover the cost of this construction. Last but not least is the Lake Clifton connector. And this project will create 1.2 miles of bike and pedestrian-friendly accommodations, including enhancements on the existing bridge over Rocky River. In 2020, a planning study investigated improving infrastructure for bicyclists and pedestrians along Lake Erie between the cities of Lakewood and Rocky River. Studies have shown direct personal economic health benefits for commuters with higher active transportation facilities, but currently, a lack of accommodation for bike and pedestrians along Clifton Boulevard creates an unsafe and uncomfortable environment, discouraging use along this lakefront segment. The overall project length here is 1.2 miles. And as you can see on the slide, this would create a linear park to more safely connect these communities. For this project, the design and engineering has started and is slated to end in the third quarter of next year, 2023, and with construction beginning in the second quarter of 2024. And the construction of this project is expected to last less than a year. And the budget for this is approximately $8 million. So there's four projects that we're working on, and again, it's a start, and these projects were strategically chosen for their relative ease of implementation. I mean, relatively speaking, nothing's easy, but you have to start somewhere. And this is our plan to connect the dots as we go forward. So with that, can I take any questions, please?
I have a question. First of all, Tom, I think this is just incredible, the positive news. Many of us have been waiting decades to see the shoreline and lakefront be redeveloped. My question is, on all of your slides, you have design and construction will include SBE, WB, and MBE goals. Have those goals been established yet? And who establishes those goals?
Goals are established once they're ready to be advertised and solicited
Okay.
for proposals and bids. And they'll be established by the Department of Equity and Inclusion in accordance with the disparity study
Gotcha.
that's active at that time. Right now, we're under this contract by contract goal setting.
Gotcha.
And that would depend, those would be projects funded solely on the local level by the county or grants that we get. Any project that we have federal money involved would then would go over to the federal program, which is the DBE program.
My next question is, how are the amenities, the sports amenities, determined when you build a park? Some parks have bocce ball, some have basketball, some have tennis, some have lawn darts. How is that determined what types of sports amenities are going to go into what park?
Well, I think a lot of that is determined by the public involvement. That's you know, what do people want? And then you look at, okay, what do people want? Then what can you reasonably, number one, can afford? What can you fit in there? How does that all fit in? Obviously, you want to try to satisfy, you know, most of the needs of the people or something like that. So again, a lot of that comes from public comment. And a lot of these projects along the lakefront, there will be time for public comment on that. So that's typically how that, amenities like that, how they're at least considered. And then you have to consider, is that within the budget? Is it feasible? Do you have the appropriate utilities, or do you have, is the land use okay for that type of thing? Then you have to go look at it through that. But that's typically how that comes about.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
I have one question for you. Amazing presentation. Thank you. Sabrina Roberts from the Department of Health and Human Services. You talked about the community and their engagement. Just curious, and maybe you can send it to me later. Just curious, to what degree was community engagement? I know I saw some of it. There were opportunities for online and in person. I know in some of the areas, because I was notified, but just curious as to particularly East and West, what was the take-up with the community engagement, and is it still ongoing?
I'll have Nicole English from our department.
Because I was out of
She's really
town when you
involved.
had one of your sessions.
I can tell you it's extensive, though,
Yeah.
and
Nicole English from Public Works. So through the plan, we did public involvement. We were in the middle of COVID for some of it, you're right, so it went to virtual, but they've been getting out and about more into the neighborhoods. So we did campaigns where actually we mailed to people all along the lakefront if you were a resident, and gathering input, because we did solicit letters of interest. Because if people aren't interested in this, especially on the private property, we're not forcing anybody to give their land away. This is really a voluntary situation, which is how kind of some of these focus areas have popped out. These are high-density areas, especially Beulah Park, where the homeowners are seeing their slopes erode, and they just can't afford to it is so expensive to fix the shoreline. So this is a win-win, right? We fix their shoreline, the public gets access. They don't lose any rights necessarily, but they do give us some access to the back of their property. So we did lots of public meetings, lots of individual beach club and neighborhood meetings. They will continue from here on out. So you'll probably be seeing more of that in person now that we seem to be having more in-person meetings opposed to the online. So they continue to, our consultants on each of the projects have public involvement pieces as part of their scope. And so the County Planning Commission is hosting the website for the Lakefront Plan right now. And so people are always able to submit comments on there, get in contact with them through that website. It's really comprehensive if there's any questions people have, but we'll continue to be out there, lots of public meetings.
That's great, because I don't know if many of you drive up and down to going either way. It's so, when it's hot outside, on both sides, East 72nd, but there's not much there. And then you look at Edgewater, you can't get in after 3 o'clock.
Right.
I mean, so this will create so much more capacity for folks to enjoy the shoreline.
Yeah, they're almost modeling some of this work the Metro Parks is doing on the east side as the east side Edgewater, right? That's their
Right.
hope, is to create a
That would be
similar
great.
situation over there. And if you go to Euclid, if you haven't been out there, what the Euclid has built, I mean,
It's beautiful.
amazing.
It's beautiful.
We just want to keep on what they've been
And the
starting.
pier is gorgeous. I know there's some foundations who have some things along the pier. It's beautiful, but some people don't even know it's there.
Right.
So,
So we're hoping to expand.
thanks.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, awesome presentation, and again, thank you for sharing. Again, we have continuing our effort to show how the different departments within their mission are embedding equity as part of their project and programming selections.
thank you for having us.
So we have Catherine Takachu with the Office of Innovation and Performance, last but not least, definitely, so thank
Thank you.
you.
Yes, Catherine Tkachuk, Chief Innovation and Performance Officer, and I'm going to talk to you about broadband and what we're doing. Okay, so first, for this, just going to talk to you about the county's efforts around broadband. So to give a little bit background on the digital divide, approximately 18% of Cuyahoga County residents don't have internet access in the home. If you want to, but that is not spread evenly across the entire community. Really, there are certain neighborhoods where you may see that access go 30, 40, or even 50% don't have access. So this is a map created off of 2019 American Community Survey data. And all of the tan areas are census tracts where more than 20% of the population does not have internet access in the home. And then the red areas are where more than 40% of those residents don't have high-speed internet access in the home. Now, one of the things to note on this, in a lot of cases, and when you hear about the digital divide, you'll hear it more as there isn't an option for people to sign up. In Cuyahoga County, not completely, but in most cases, people do have an option to sign up for high-speed internet access. What it is not affordable to most residents. So that's really one of our biggest struggles with the digital divide is around affordability, not accessibility. So what we were trying to do is increase affordable access. So we had some goals when we were looking to increase affordable access. So we wanted to have high quality, affordable internet access, makes sense, right? We wanted it in a sustainable business model. So the dollars we're going to be using, as everyone's aware, are one-time dollars. So how can we make sure that it is also a sustainable business model once we make our investment? And then we wanted to remove barriers around adoption. So in a lot of cases, when you see programs for affordability, they either have income requirements or they have a lot of paperwork that comes with them, and that just makes it harder and harder for people to adopt the service as well. So we wanted to try and lower those barriers around adoption. We issued an RFP. We actually started with an RFI on this in December 2020, getting just kind of some ideas of what it was possible. We received 19 responses to that RFI. And so use that and those responses to build an RFP, which we issued in July 2021. We had 9 responses, 6 of them were compliant, and we evaluated and scored those in October, and then issued a notice of award in February to PCs for People. So the recommended solution, or the solution we're going with, is to build what is called a fixed wireless solution with a capacity for 20,000 households. So what this does is it uses connections at high buildings and puts antennas up on top of tall buildings. And then what users get is a modem that it connects to and creates in-home internet. So I want to be clear, this is not public Wi-Fi that's being built. This is for people who have in-home internet access that they're getting. And this solution will cover about 20,000 households and an additional 5,000 apartments with a more wired solution that they'll work on. There we are prioritizing CMHA facilities to get connected and make sure that those residents have connection. They will have high speed, so it's 100 megabits per second download and upload speeds, which is hard to, but is a fast service that will allow multiple people to be on video calls or things like that at the same time. We'll have in-home equipment right now for 11,000 households. And the cost to the county is about $19.4 million. I will say yesterday we just announced the state of Ohio is actually going to be covering half this cost. So $9.7 million, which is really exciting, and I think shows the state's investment in broadband infrastructure as well as the positive view they took on this project that we had put together. So what does the resident get? So it is $15 a month for this service. It's really important to note this is not income contingent. Doesn't really matter what you make. If you come and need internet access, they can give you it for $15 a month. And again, that's really important. I know, like Sabrina, you're probably very familiar with the benefits cliff, right? You hit just over that federal poverty line or whatever percentage you need, and benefits go away. So no matter what, this is $15 a month for folks. There are no installation or equipment fees, and unlimited data as well. So sometimes on affordable plans, what you'll see is a lot of throttling or limits to data that people can use. So this does not have any of those. Additionally, so the federal government has what's called the Affordable Connectivity Program, which is that ACP right there. And that, if you are below 200% of the federal poverty level, you can apply for that program. PCs for People is registered as an ACP provider, which will bring your cost down to zero. So there's a federal subsidy that could actually bring that down to free for those that need it, but we still wanted to also offer what's a more affordable price for those who may not take advantage of it. Again, it does take paperwork, you have to prove income, all of those things. And then again, if you fall at 205% of the federal poverty line, it doesn't mean that a $50 a month, a plan is affordable for you. So the goal with this was to try and provide it at a cost that works for folks. So the coverage map, so this is where we're going, and it kind of is in different phases. So again, we prioritize those areas that had more than 20% of the population unconnected and were below the area median income. Now, you're seeing a big gap where most of the city of Cleveland is not covered. That is because the city of Cleveland is also working on broadband initiatives. They actually have an RFP that is out right now. So we focused a lot on a number of the inner ring suburbs that were lacking in connection and had those spaces. So this is our map of the areas we'll cover. There are some areas in the city of Cleveland where PCs for People already had a network built. What we didn't want to do was say, oh, no, you can't build that and offer the city of Cleveland residents a different service than what was getting offered in the suburban area. So we said you can upgrade your existing service in the city of Cleveland, but otherwise the city of Cleveland is spending their dollars to cover their residents. So you can see the list of the different areas that we'll be covering, and it'll roll out in phases. Phase 1 will, which are the areas in orange, will go live at about January 2023. They should be built. Phase 2 will be in June 2023, so those are the purple areas. And then the green areas will go live in June 2024. So again, the goal is to connect up to 25,000 households with this throughout that time. So I've talked mostly in this because the county is making a really big and the largest investment in affordable access. But really, when you talk about the digital divide, and if I went into a really long presentation about it, I would talk to you about all 4 of these things that are up here on the screen right now, which is also devices, digital literacy, and outreach and adoption. We are not ignoring those. There are solutions in place for those, and we're also working on some additional funding. Devices, so PCs for People actually started here as they provide low-cost or free computers to residents as a part of their job. They refurbished. Our business community actually has stepped up and provided over 14,000 computers to them that they refurbish and then provide at a sliding scale for folks. As part of this program, if you are ACP eligible, you'll also be able to purchase a computer for $11 as that. And they also do provide some technical assistance and low-cost fixes to computers. So if something breaks, people can bring it back there as well, and they can fix it for a low cost on it. Digital literacy, so making sure people know how to use the internet and use it in a safe and secure manner is really important as well. We have lots of partners that are working on this, and part of our funding for broadband, actually our Department of Senior and Adult Services is going to be implementing a number of their contracts with various partners, specifically around trying to bring training and work to our senior population. And then we always partner all the time with our excellent library system that provides a lot of this training. And then additionally, for both these last 2, there is some significant federal money through the bipartisan infrastructure law that will be coming. There was $2.75 billion for digital equity and adoption that's available. Some of that will flow through the state, and some of that will be competitive grants that we can apply for. So we are working with our partners to make sure that we have a very comprehensive approach to that application and those dollars to tap into even more funding to support our efforts. And then again, a number of our foundations have been very supportive of this. And actually, you would see today that the Cleveland Foundation and the Rocket Community Fund just announced they are funding a position in the city of Cleveland to specifically focus on digital equity and inclusion, which is great news to have a position that will be dedicated to that. And then on outreach and adoption, one of our key things too that I want to mention is our Digital Navigators program. So Digital Navigators, again, one of the things that we're finding is it's not just a matter of if you build it, everybody will come. You know, people need to understand the programs, they need to know, and they need to also help on getting connected or knowing where to go. There's a lot of information out there. And so we have this Digital Navigators program. It funds right now 7 different partners to host a digital navigator. And they have they do a lot of outreach events and everything, but they also have a single number that they staff. I think it's Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and then on Saturday from 11 to 3. And anybody can call this single number. It doesn't matter where you are in Cuyahoga County, and they can help you with getting affordable access. So it's not just the PCs for People, but it also could be if you wanted to work with AT&T or Charter or Digital C, they can help connect you with that. They can help support your application for the Affordable Connectivity Program. Again, they can help with devices. They can provide where you may have a public computer located nearby if you wanted to do that. They also can help with some assistive technology. So for example, if you are visually impaired and need some assistive technology for using your computer, they can also try and connect you to organizations that have that. And then certainly they have ones for digital literacy as well. They have computer classes and again, some resources specifically for seniors, assistive as I mentioned, and then for Spanish-speaking residents as well. And so this is a really important thing for us. And one of the things is They're not paid by any of the people that are providing these services. They are there to try and help find what service is the right thing for people. So we've invested in this PCs for People solution, but from my perspective, whatever works for you best to get connected to the internet is what the family should be doing. And the digital navigators don't have any agenda to push anything. They can say, okay, well, you're actually going to be best under probably AT&T's program based on information we've collected, or another one. And that's why we really want to have that. And so we can also tell folks, like, these aren't getting paid by any of the providers. So they're there to just try and help you find what works for you. And so we're really excited about that and continuing to expand and bring the word out about the Digital Navigators program. And again, a single number people can call to get help with. That's a brief overview of what we are doing with broadband. Yeah.
I do that too. They always call me in the family. Go ahead. Sabrina Roberts, Health and Human Services Director. Tkachuk, who pays for the digital navigators?
So they're funded. So when during the pandemic, we partner with the Cleveland Foundation to create a digital equity fund. And so they are funded partially out of the Digital Equity Fund and partially through the Cleveland Foundation right now. But yeah.
I just
have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Vaughn Johnson, Department of Development. I'm just curious about the infrastructure that's used to build this. There are some other ISPs that just leverage the network that's already there. They'll buy, I don't know how many minutes or whatever it is, and then they'll just resell it at a lower rate. If it's an issue of not necessarily accessibility but affordability, why not just leverage the networks that are already there, provide some type of subsidy so they can have internet access?
Yeah, so one of our big thing is sustainability, right? So subsidies, there is a federal subsidy right now, right? So
Okay.
that is in place, and I'm perfectly content with anybody who uses that, and that's a great way to get connected for families. But it's also about the sustainability of that program, right? So even the Affordable Connectivity Program, which is the federal subsidy, right now has funding they estimate for approximately 4 years. Not sure what's going to happen to it after that. But also, when we look at our one-time dollar, so if we said, okay, we could bulk buy, and places have, and especially during the pandemic, that was a big thing where they do a bulk purchase. You know, the provider, the existing ISP, will actually provide it at a lower cost then. But then what happens when this money runs out? So in this case, we're able to make a one-time investment into the infrastructure. The $15 a month is enough on the PCs for People business model for them to operate and maintain their network and continue to move forward with it. So we are making the one-time investment in infrastructure, and that allows them to continue to provide an affordable cost.
Gotcha. Thank you so much.
Kim Coleman, Department of Human Resources. I just had a quick question in terms of the outreach in those communities, the coverage area. Are they working with the school districts, the school systems? I know part of the big issue came during the pandemic when those underserved communities, they didn't have access to even log in remotely. But just with the school districts, the school systems, open houses, parent meetings, just putting it out there that this is an option within those communities.
Yeah, so we are doing a lot of outreach right now, specifically around digital navigators, because that's available. As the PCs for People solution is going live in those various communities, our goal is to engage with the school districts, any other trusted community partners. And one of the things we found during the pandemic, we did some hotspot work, and we would always work with the administration, but again, during the pandemic, they had a lot of things they were doing. And we found if we could get to like the school librarian or the teachers in the school district as well, because they're more likely to know what families are in need of this service and be able to provide that out to folks. So our goal during all of it will be to make sure that we are connecting with all trusted community partners, sharing with them what we're doing, giving them a chance to also see it and make sure that they feel comfortable, that then they can actually spread that word for us as well and work with us. So.
Sorry. Thank you for coming and doing the presentation and the work behind all of it and the announcements. Because you often forget you see everyone on their cell phone, so you're assumption is that everyone has access, you have access to the internet. But as Ms. Coleman stated, when the pandemic hit, the kids that couldn't go to school had to
Yeah, it was.
connect it.
It was weird. You know, we knew about the digital divide beforehand, but I think the pandemic really just brought it to home to people. How many people do not have access? And they may, you know, you may have folks that have a cell phone, but they have data month to month based on what's going on in their family that month, whether or not they can do that. So hopefully this will provide another option for people. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. I'm going to quickly go through the, give an update on the next two items. Before the meeting, we did hear the diversity, equity, and inclusion training. The email started going out for the all town hall series. We will be doing reminders, and we'll take that opportunity to make sure it's clarified that this is for all staff. There was levels of training. There was management first to build, drive the process down, build the culture by having the management be trained first. However, there was focus on the management perspective. This all towns series is for everyone. Those classes will occur. The first one will be August 10th. The last one will be November 17th. It's a 3-topic series. So starting August 10th will be the first town hall series. It will be repeated 7 times. So there's 7 opportunities at different time slots to hopefully provide a time that's accessible by all the full range of the 4,400 employees under the county executive. Then Town Hall 2, similar, will be a similar a repeated series 7 times, and then Town Hall 3, repeated 7 times, again with that flexibility. And that flexibility includes the significant above approximately 1,100 to 1,400 of county employees that do not have a county-issued laptop or computer. As such, we're providing access for them to take the training at our Harvard Road facility with, depending upon how this endemic or lasting COVID, we may have to stretch that to also include access at other facilities so that we can do spacing. So that's the update on the equity and inclusion. We do have the intranet site so that you can get updates on, see that all the time slots listed, and updates on who's attended any statistics on the training. Any questions on the DEI training? Okay, so go ahead.
I'm sorry, I have a question about the GARE survey, Vaughn Johnson Development. Are we supposed to continue to get reminders to do the survey even if you've done it?
Yes, so the GARE survey closes at 6 p.m. on Friday, tomorrow.
Okay.
The GARE service is being provided, administered, and then all the data goes to GARE. And it's anonymous and confidential, so we have no way of knowing who has completed the survey. So you have 2 more days to bear with the reminders. So the benefit of anonymous and confidential is that we keep reminding. The other downfall is that if you were an early adapter and you did it on the first day, second day, you still receive reminders. Our goal is to make sure we have a full, the most robust sample to set our baseline, and the information will be used to guide our efforts, to know where we are, again, set the baseline, and guide our efforts. As a member of GARE, as part of that membership, they will provide the survey every couple of years. So that will be a way for us to measure our progress over time as far as our capacity and awareness with our staff on how we're making changes and how the environment, our workforce, the equity, how we're improving and advancing.
Understood. I just wanted to make sure in case I was asked. Thank you.
We're going to the left.
I'm encouraged by what I heard today. This is transforming into the Cuyahoga County that I had dreamed about and why I wanted to be part of the county. It is extremely encouraging to hear all this stuff. I hope that the residents of Cuyahoga County really know the hard work that everybody's putting in to do this. They get to enjoy the end result, but a lot of times people don't see the process that goes into it and the hundreds of thousands of hours that it takes to pull off these types of projects and initiatives. And I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud to be a tiny, tiny, tiny part of that. And I'm excited to see the results when some of these initiatives are done.
My closing remarks, Sabrina Roberts from the Office of Health, Department of Health and Human Services. Agree, ditto, Mr. Johnson. I think just hearing in a succinct way how our outside-inside approach, and most of this was outside of our consumers, customers, clients, will benefit. Excellent. Yeoman's job. I know every day, after being here more than 28 years, how dedicated most of the staff are here. And what I would say as a challenge for us, just as important are our staff internally, and we are making strides. I'm hopeful for this survey and so appreciative that we had the survey and training so our internal staff, who has to, at the end of the day, execute on equity initiatives, have the baseline information that they need, the support that they need. And I'm hoping as we move along, we begin to dig deeper after the survey comes back on the challenges our staff they're facing across different systems, because there are different issues, obviously, in different departments, one might face. So, yes, for our community, but just really wanting to impress upon this commission and our colleagues how important our staff is to be able to be in position to have equitable approaches to their work, and how important they are to undergird them with the training ongoing. I'm looking at HR. And then just the supports and tools by way of getting the initial information from the survey. And hopefully it won't stop there with this discussion. So thank you.
Yes, Kimberly Coleman, Department of Human Resources. I agree with both of my colleagues. I also want to expound on what Sabrina said. Going through the management training and just hearing other people's ideas and thoughts, and just knowing what we experience in our department, because we're servicing all the employees throughout the county. And seeing, although it's 2022, how far have we come internally? So I'm excited with this program, with the training, all that we're doing, to hopefully we can make the strides that it looks like we should have made, but have we really made them? So it's a lot of work we have to do, but I think we have a good group, dedicated management team, leadership, professionals who want to make this happen. And I agree, we have to make sure that our employees feel supported, that they're being heard, because a lot of them feel voiceless. And so I think a lot of the managers, when they went through that training, they were shocked on some of the things that may have come out. But I'm looking forward to working as hard as we can to make sure we make these strides throughout the county. Thank you.
All right, thank you all. Any other further closing remarks? The one thing I did want to add on those notes is that as part of the management training, there were projects, there were supposed to be recommendations on projects that will be sent to DEI training. We're collecting those, and we're going to do a summary of the projects that were submitted. So again, the whole goal was not for you to sit in front of a training, check the box. It was supposed to inspire and come up with tangible ways that we can make that investment. And in addition, the goal is to layer all of our actions and tools. Each tool might or action may not seem significant, but when layered and together, the overall effect can be monumental. has to go.
I do have one final comment. Vaughn Johnson, Development. I just wanted to say that Director Lockett has been doing a tremendous job with this. This is a very heavy lift. DE&I, and coming into a new role, I think you've been doing a tremendous job, and you have the full support of Department of Development.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's a team effort, but I appreciate, so each part of that team needs to be motivated and encouraged, so I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And same to you all. I appreciate it. Yes. All right, so it is 11:19. A motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.